So as you can see here, chances are if you're watching this video right now, you are not from the United States of America. Only 4 out of 10 people watching this, in fact, are from the US. I always knew that I had a very international audience, and I really like that. Obviously, I talk about a lot of international things that are going on with the world, and I felt like this would be a fun video to describe to someone that's maybe outside the US that's a little bit confused about the election on kind of what happened, because I don't know. I mean, every piece of media, it depends on what country you're coming from, but your media is probably telling you something a little bit differently, coming at it from different angles. I'll tell you something, and I'll tell you in a way that I don't see often talked about. I don't see analysis like this, but this is honestly really what it comes down to. So basically, the 2024 election all goes back to just one thing. And it's not Donald Trump. Everyone is focused on Donald Trump or focused on certain policies, what was said in 2024, what was done, all these moments right here. None of that really even matters. This all the precipice for this exact moment stems back from 2016. You have to go back 8 years ago. So rewind the clocks. Let me set the stage. Obviously, we had Barack Obama in there for 2 full terms. He was not going to be president again. So both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, they got to choose whoever they wanted. They got to start something new and fresh in 2016. We were absolutely going to have a new president. So obviously the Republican Party ended up going with Donald Trump, and the Democratic Party had somebody in mind. They had somebody in mind that had been there for a while. They really wanted Hillary Clinton to win, and they were not expecting this guy named Bernie Sanders to run and to actually gain traction. They did hold a primary, to their credit, and they just expected Hillary to demolish everybody. If I remember correctly, back in 2016 in the Democratic primary, there was 3 official candidates, and Bernie Sanders slowly gained traction throughout that primary to the point where it definitely had our left party, the Democratic Party, the establishment, extremely worried. The Democratic establishment was very concerned about how much hype Bernie Sanders was getting at that time. I mean, I remember being there. I remember being on Reddit. Reddit was so pro-Bernie. It was insane. Reddit was probably the core website that was driving so much of that push. So the officials in the Democratic Party really did not like that, because they had basically chosen Hillary Clinton from the start. They knew that was going to be their candidate, and I don't think this is really that controversial to say. I mean, our left party basically put their thumb on the scales and make sure that Bernie does not win. You could say cheat. They basically cheat. That's the word that gets thrown around, and they make sure that Hillary is in fact the nominee, that they do not go with Bernie in 2016. And so, boom. Obviously, we know the story there. It's Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump in that presidential election, and Hillary Clinton is an extremely flawed candidate, and she's been around Washington for her whole life, basically, so there was just a lot to hit her on, and Trump got lucky winning the Electoral College, not winning the popular vote, so Trump squeezes into the White House, and that was how basically everything really began. So now we have to fast forward to 2020, 4 years of Trump, and the Democrats, again, have the chance to, they hold another primary. And it is very clear who probably will win. It's Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is killing it, because throughout all of the Trump presidency, you hear Bernie Sanders is going to win, yada, yada, yada. Well, the Democratic Party still did not want to choose Bernie Sanders. They really did not want that guy. So once again, they put their thumb on the scale, and they do everything in their power to make sure Bernie Sanders is not the nominee once again. So I talk about this occasionally. I think I've talked about it on this channel before, but yeah, we have this thing called Super Tuesday. That's where the vast majority of the states vote in the Democratic Party. And right before Super Tuesday, there was probably, it's funny. I mean, the Democrats had 4 years to make sure Bernie was not the nominee. Maybe this was all part of their plan. So there's first 11 different people running for presidency. Obviously, Bernie Sanders and Biden are some of the top. Also, Kamala Harris, and then right before Super Tuesday, everyone drops out. Everyone gives their support to Biden, and making sure that Bernie does not get the nominee. So real quick, right before it all, and then of course, they have the media backing up on their side, making sure Biden is the candidate of choice and not Bernie. And we all know that story. Biden becomes the nominee, and now Bernie's too old to run. And this time it kind of works out for the Democrats, the establishment. Again, I'm not talking about people who identify with the Democratic Party. I'm talking about the people that are actually in Washington, D.C. So it works out for them. They pick Joe Biden, and as we know, Joe Biden wins that election in 2020. The problem is that even back in 2020, there are obvious signs. I wouldn't say it's obvious, but there are signs that Joe Biden is having some decline going on. He's clearly aging. I mean, at this point, it's just absolutely insane. It's really just sad. I don't even really like to talk about it. It's kind of just makes me sad because the dude really shouldn't be there. Like, he's so old and he's clearly struggling. So they get away with it. The Democrats win the election. They win 2020. But the problem is now they have this really, really old candidate. And so they go basically for the last 4 years, they hide him in a basement somewhere. I mean, they really do. I mean, there are so many reporters asking, like, yo, where's Joe Biden? How is Joe Biden doing? I think we all kind of had it in the back of our head that this dude probably wasn't all there anymore. I mean, it's funny because back in 2020, he had good days. He was probably having more good days than bad days. Now he's having pretty much mostly bad days. He occasionally has a good day where he doesn't seem like he's stuttering too much. He doesn't seem like he's, I don't know. He just seems kind of more mentally there. So anyways, the Democratic Party try to hide him for as long as they can up until that infamous moment, which honestly, that debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump earlier this year is going to go down in history because that was the first moment the world, not just America, the world realized, like, oh, this guy is not suitable to be the president. Like, we didn't really know. They did. They obviously knew. They knew the whole time. And they just try to hide it. And I cannot wait to read the books about what was going on behind the scenes, because why did Joe Biden decide to run for re-election? Whose choice was that? Whose choice was that? Was it Joe Biden himself? Why didn't Joe Biden just say, hey, I'm not running for re-election. I'm too old. What happened? Was it just Joe Biden himself? Was it half of his cabinet? Was it all? Did they really think that Trump was weak enough that they'd be able to win even with mentally sort of not all there Joe Biden? Like, what was the choice behind that to be like, yeah, that guy is definitely going to be able to win again, and he's definitely going to make it to, what is he, 84 right now? He's definitely going to make it to 88. Can you imagine if Joe Biden was forced to run the country for another 4 years? Crazy. So I want to know the choices there. Anyways, Joe Biden waits till, what was that, June or July for the debate to happen before he actually drops out. So Kamala only has 4 years. They probably should have, I mean, everyone's talking about it now. The left in America should have probably had a Democratic primary, even if Kamala Harris was still the nominee at the end of the choice, at the end of the day, at the end of the Democratic primary. It still would have made her a stronger candidate, more than likely. Or maybe they go with somebody else. I mean, there were other options. It wasn't just Kamala. So yeah, we know the story. Kamala has like 3 months to prepare, 3-4 months to prepare her presidency, and she was not able to. At the end of the day, she was not able to make the case that she is different from Joe Biden. I don't know if she was. I mean, she literally said that she wouldn't have changed everything if she was president rather than Joe Biden. She would have pretty much chose the same thing. So it's a weird line that she has to walk. And we know the story. Trump wins in a landslide. The polls are never to be trusted again in the U.S. at least. I don't even think, I think the troll polls at this point, because I forgot to mention I was obviously wrong in my predictions. I ended up picking Kamala in a very, very slight win by like 51%. I thought she was just going to barely win the Electoral College. I think most people thought I don't think people were giving too much crap about that, because I think a lot of the public thought it was going to be really close, and it turns out it was just a complete blowout. And and now the Republicans will have control over the Senate. Trump won the popular vote, the Electoral College, all 7 swing states, and it's looking like the Republicans will control the House of Representatives. We don't know that for sure just yet, but that's looking like what it's going to be. So that's just like a take completely besides Donald Trump, because everyone's like focusing on that. Everyone's focused on the now and the here. This was really something that the Democratic Party, they made this bed and they were kind of forced to lay in it because they just wanted to make sure, in reality, they just wanted to make sure Bernie Sanders didn't win. I think if you ask me, they were more focused on Bernie Sanders not being the nominee than actually even beating Trump. So here we are. And then, the U.S. at the end of the day, when it comes to presidential elections, at least in the U.S., and I think in a lot of countries, this phrase has been thrown around to me a lot. It's called "It's the economy, stupid." I've heard that my whole life, and it really just comes down to that. It really, no other policies matter. It really is just all about the economy. If the American public thinks that the economy is worse off under your presidency, they are absolutely going to go with the other guy. That's just it's really that simple. And the economy we just have faced massive inflation. Not compared to the rest of the world. It's funny because I'm making out this video to talk about, to really kind of inform people around the world why this happened. But in reality, it's the inflation around the rest of the world has been far, far worse than the U.S. But that's like saying, I don't know, you got punched in the face once, but the rest of the world got punched in the face twice. Well, I'm still going to be mad that I got punched in the face. You know what I mean? That doesn't make it any better that I didn't get punched in the face twice. I'm still going to be upset. So that's basically how the U.S. public feels. And that is my overall analysis of the situation. But we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll make more videos like this. But I didn't want to talk about that because I noticed that only 40% of my audience is coming from the U.S. And I see a lot of people in my comment section that's kind of confused about how the election went down. But I think when you present it like that, it's pretty straightforward.